Good morning. We have some matters with the jury, with two jurors who have tested positive for COVID. And they will not be able to continue. They've confirmed the positive tests by sending them to the clerk of court, who has forwarded copies to me. And I've spoken with each of those jurors, and they are, one is symptomatic and one had a cough and sore throat, and they've both been relieved. So we have two alternates, two alternates that'll become part of the regular panel. So we'll need to do that this morning. Any comment?
Your Honor, and after great consternation, having just gotten over COVID myself over the Christmas holidays, and did a little studying on it, my understanding is that if you've been exposed to somebody with COVID, it can be up to 5 days before you exhibit symptoms. My only concern is that we don't create a train wreck with this jury that's testing negative now, and in an abundance of caution, should we not, and I hate to use the word delay, but that's what it would be, till some health professional will tell us that if they were exposed last Friday when they were together, they would show symptoms or test positive by Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, I'm not trying to, trust me, it's an economic disaster for us to continue.
We've had a doctor who came and tested them this morning, and who recommends that they be tested again on Wednesday.
So,
And she is a doctor who fully understands the CDC guidelines and other precautions, and so your concern is being addressed by the court.
are you going to keep together between now and Wednesday?
Yes, and we've recommended that they have agreed to wear masks, as everyone in here probably should, other than the essential people who have to talk all the time. But my focus primarily is with the jurors. Of course, our camera person, I noticed they tend to wear masks, and most others do not, and some clerk personnel. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, my only other concern is, well, I understand the clerk of court is out with COVID.
Yes.
And one of her,
And her staff, they've been tested and they're all negative.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I want to make sure that this, as you do, that this jury does not infect each other, and then we're in a position none of us want to be.
Or infect me or you. We all have that same concern, and the jurors are aware of that, and they have a positive attitude about it, and according to the doctor who administered the test to them this morning.
The last question would be, do you have masks? That I didn't bring a mask. Do we
I
have
do. I have one right here, and my clerk has one right there, and we have a few others in the back. You're welcome to have one of them if you would like to have it. Clerk staff, she's going somewhere. Are you heading towards Mass or something?
Are we good? Yeah. Okay, we're good, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Waters.
Yeah, I was going to echo the same concern that, if we have the two who are released and then we have it kind of spread through those that are remaining, and again, this is not what I want to do at all, if some sort of delay to see what happens, because in talking with the defense as we first heard about these issues, I think we were both in agreement that we would rather, if forced to delay a little bit rather than end up with a mistrial and be unable to continue at all. And that would just be my only point that I would raise at this time. And we could have two. If we go ahead and release them, then we could have some others become symptomatic, and we just have to wait a few days for it to run its course. But that would be my only thought and recommendation. But obviously, you've had a doctor come in here and discuss a course of action.
And Your Honor, we would concur that, and again, trust me, I'm not interested in delaying this at all. But what I don't want is to run the risk that we have a mistrial because they all get COVID or they all get symptomatic. It just seems to me if by Wednesday they know, it might be prudent to adjourn for a couple of days. And I'm not questioning your decision. I'm just concerned that we not, and if they have masks on, that's great, but when they go back in the jury room to drink the water or have lunch or whatever they're going to do, they'll have those masks off. It's not 100%. I caught COVID the first week of this, the second week of December. It took me 3 weeks to get over it, and I don't want to lose this jury.
We don't want to either. And again, if we were going to do that, I would say then with the two that have tested positive, we would, at least keep them in the bullpen, I guess, until we figure that out or see what happens over the next couple of days.
The two with COVID, they have been released from jury service, and here the mask carrier is right behind you there. Yeah, fortunately, we selected, wisely selected 6 alternates, and we'll be down to 5 or 4 following, 3 following the release of these 2. And of course, we have no way of knowing. We just have to take precautions, as we all do, as we navigate through life during this period of time. And we need 12 to deliberate, so that's the goal. That's why you have alternates. Of course, anytime you have a trial that's protracted, that goes on and on and on and on, then you run the natural risk of attrition, and which we are experiencing now. And be it COVID or some other problem, the longer we stay here, the longer something will happen to various folks involved.
All I say about how long this is going on, I'm reminded of a quote from Jerry Spence, the famous trial lawyer in the Silkwood case. In that case, which went not much longer than we are, he said, "We began this trial in the winter, we finished it in spring. I thought we would grow old together." So I'm beginning to feel much like Mr. Spence, but hopefully we can finish the state's case this week and we can begin our case.
Yes. With regard to selection of the next 2 jurors to become part of the 12, the clerk has placed the juror numbers of the remaining jurors in a box. And statute requires that they be selected, I think the word is by lot. Any objection to a clerk, member of the clerk staff selecting the next 2?
No objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
All right, if you will pull number 1, Madam Clerk. All right, and you can tell us what juror number it is.
Juror number 441.
Number 441 becomes a member of the regular panel. And the next one?
Juror 326.
Number 326 will become.
No, juror numbers of those that were excused.
Yes, of course. The jurors who've now been excused, juror 220. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Yes, sir. 220 and 528. Yes, sir.
Mr. Waters and I are responding as this develops, and I'm not trying to, it's a joint concern. We have a huge gallery out here. Are we exposing ourselves to more risk by having them there?
Yeah, probably so.
Having brought that to your attention,
Would you like me to issue a mask mandate for everyone in the courtroom? Other than witnesses who are testifying and people who have to speak openly in court, like the judge and lawyers?
I think it would mitigate.
Well, and aside from a mask mandate, we might, have a little bit of social distancing, a little less numbers might be warranted. I mean, none of us want to limit anything, but we're in a different paradigm, and both of us have a concern about getting this thing to the end without COVID causing it to fall apart. And that's the paramount concern for both the state and the defense and the court, I know.
And Your Honor, half our alternates are gone now. Half our alternates are gone. We're 3 weeks in, 3 jurors down. At this rate, we could have a problem.
A little thermometer thing at the door.
We'll leave all that with the clerk staff. They are able to monitor that, I believe. I'm not going to order any social distancing. It will mean we cannot order any social distancing with the jurors. Of course, when COVID came in initially, we reversed the courtroom and had the jurors seated in the audience, and that was our means of keeping them socially distanced. I think we can require masks because people who are in the audience are here for the most part of their own volition, and they can watch it all on TV if they do not wish to wear masks. But I'm not going to order any social distancing, and for the moment we're going to encourage everyone here to mask up for your own protection as well as the protection of these proceedings and of each other, and then we'll explore how far we need to go with that as the day progresses. Otherwise, is there anything else before the jury comes?
Your Honor, one other matter, and I just to let you know some developments over the weekend. Back in March of 2022, there had been search warrants prior to that issued to GM, in particular for OnStar data. And in March of 2022, GM sent a letter to law enforcement, to SLED, in which they advised, aside from some basic sort of ownership information and that sort of thing, that they had no data. Late Friday after court, Friday evening, I got a call from John Conrad, who, of course, as Your Honor is aware, has been handling a lot of that digital evidence, who had received a communication from GM stating that probably because the trial was going on and maybe in response somebody was watching the testimony of Fafosky, that they had gone back and looked again, and this time they found a lot of data that includes GPS location data from the Suburban that was that the defendant had on June 7th, 2021. That information came in Saturday evening, and I had a chance, of course, to look at it Sunday morning. I immediately called Mr. Griffin, and we talked, and we provided that information to them. And so that information's come in. Of course, when we became aware of it, the GM actually sent a letter with it saying, yeah, we told you back in March we didn't have anything, and we just found it, and here you go. And so we've actually had that data and provided it to the defense. Obviously, we'll let the defense speak for themselves, but we've done everything to facilitate their review of it. If anything, I think it confirms a lot about the timeline that we're both working within. So I don't know that they have any objection about that. We're just trying to absorb it on the fly, and it's a substantial amount of information. But I wanted to raise that to the court's attention and of those developments, and of course, let the defense speak for themselves.
Your Honor, again, it is a massive amount of data. which we forwarded to our experts last night. They're beginning to look through it. Some of it is very helpful to us. We don't see it in any way contradicting the state's previous timeline, but the data can show you car speed, can show you GPS exactly where they were. It can show, just many things that we did not have before. And again, we can. This is not about who didn't do what when GM concedes they didn't give it. The problem is, there's not a problem. They're going to bring somebody from GM to authenticate it, as I understand it, and then give it to their expert, who they were going to use for a timeline anyway, and have him or her digest it. We will not be able to cross-examine their expert until our experts have a chance to digest it on a granular level. So I'm just giving the court a heads up. We got it to them yesterday. We suspect it's going to take them 2 or 3 days to do that. And so I know we're talking about having their rest of the case by Wednesday, and we're going to try to get ready by Wednesday. But I can't guarantee. I mean, again, we just got it yesterday. So the only hang-up that once they authenticate it, before we cross-examine their expert, we need an opportunity to have our experts advise us what, if anything, we need to ask them. I mean, that's just, how it works.
Your Honor, just to be clear about this particular data, there's 2 sets of data. The most important data to what we're doing, and again, is confirmed by the timeline. It's just actually confirmatory of the timeline that we've been presenting to this jury. But we have specific location data points that are being logged every 30 seconds or so, or something like that, as well as vehicle speed. That's the crucial data that's in this from the relevant time period. There's another file that has some various sensor data that's logged, but in our initial review, I don't think there's going to be anything in that information that's going to be helpful to either side. And actually was talking with the defense counsel earlier, and they were able to load already, because I was going to suggest they do this, load that location data into Google Earth, and it works pretty well. So I think it's something that's going to be able to be digested fairly quickly, and at least in our review, it does not appear that there's any information in there that's different than the timelines that we were already working from. It's just much more specific and confirmatory of what had already been established.
Your Honor, with all due respect to Mr. Waters, his opinion on what's important to us is not. We find things in that other data he talks about that's not relevant or not of interest to them. That is of interest to us. An expert's it can't load it into Google Earth. You have to do some things with it to get it in a position. I mean, Mr. Barber, who's our computer whiz kid, was able to do the Google stuff yesterday and indicates the other materials, the car function, are the doors locked, are they unlocked, is it in gear, is it not in gear, and the information about other functions of the vehicle. It's just amazing what they capture. I mean, it's scary because they know everything about how you're operating your vehicle, and speed, where you are, all those sorts of things. We're getting that, and our experts are downloading it. We think there's some relevance to those other databases, but I can't represent to you here today that it is or it isn't, but we have seen a couple of things we think they're going to be very helpful to our case. So all I'm attempting to do, and let me make this clear, there's nothing, we're not implying in any way the state did anything untoward here. I want that perfectly clear. Now, GM, after all the money we gave them to bail them out, couldn't get this done. That may be another matter altogether. And somebody must have been watching the trial, because between the time the FBI agent testified and they got the data, it was less than 2 days, as I understand it. So somebody hit a button and generated that data in less than 40 hours or 48 hours. So it wasn't hard to access. Again, the state had nothing to do with this delay. I just wanted to raise with the court before they call their timeline expert. We may need some period of time to get our experts to get it digested and then get back with us.
At its core, it's an unexpected witness coming into the trial. I know there have been some cross-examination on that issue in general. So the state has now disclosed an additional witness, and certainly in fairness to the defense, you should have an opportunity to adequately prepare to confront that witness if need be. And I'm sure that witness is down the line, not the next witness the state is calling, since the state indicated that you expect it to be through on Wednesday, and that did not include this witness. So you must have other witnesses and you should be ready to proceed with, and we'll deal with the other issue as it might come up.
And Your Honor, we'll keep you posted. We're gonna, we're in court from 9:30 to get back till 6 or 6:30 to be able to talk to experts. So we're gonna have to talk with them tonight. But again, we're somewhat constrained as to how much discussions we can have and at what time.
Understood.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, again, we're having to digest it as well, but it's going to be incorporated in our timeline witness who, yes, is not expected to be called, late tomorrow or Wednesday.
Anything else before the jury comes?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Bring the jury. All right, very good. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, day number 16. Ladies and gentlemen, you might notice that a few of your jurors are missing. Those jurors have been excused. I see many of you are masked up. We hopefully we do everything we can to keep everyone safe, including members of the court. I'm not going to order any wearing of masks by jurors, but encourage it. But we have excused 2 jurors and now we'll have 2 other jurors who will move up to be among the first 12 jurors. And that means we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Well, still have 3 alternates remaining. So juror number 441. Who's 441? All right. Number 441, you're a member of the first 12. And juror number 326. 326, you're a member of the first 12. Of course, it doesn't matter where you sit. You just need to know that. And with that, we're ready to move forward. State's case, next witness.
Thank you.
The state calls Ryan Kelly.